Welcome to all the students once again to the lecture of business communication. So we have started the elements of soft skill and completed the three elements. The first one was manners, etiquettes and grooming. Second, effective listening and speaking. And the third one was interview skills. Today we will start the fourth one, that is oral presentation, which is one of the most important soft skill one should possess. So let us start with the oral presentation meaning. See, an oral presentation is a short talk on a fixed topic given to an academic, business or a seminar group. In an oral presentation, one or more person deliver a talk to a group and present views on a topic based on their readings or research. Oral presentation means delivering an address to a targeted audience. It is also refers to public speaking or speech giving. An effective oral presentation should have an introduction, fundamental body or main body, and conclusion like a short paper. So what is an oral presentation is? It is a short talk which is given on a particular topic or a fixed topic, and it is basically given to an academic or in a business or in a seminar group. Okay? An oral presentation is presented or delivered to a group of people or in a seminar hall or in a meeting or in an academic meetings. So in that we give the oral presentation. It is basically like a public speaking or a speech speaking. And if you want to convey your thoughts effectively, then your presentation, that is your oral presentation, should be effective one, should be a strong one. An oral presentation consists of an introduction, main body and a conclusion, just like a short paper or just like a letter in which we have the opening paragraph, middle paragraph, that is the main body, and the closing one. In the same way, an oral presentation also consists of an introduction, fundamental body or a main body, and the conclusion of your presentation. Why are you giving a presentation on that topic? That will be your introduction. And what comprises your presentation will be the main body. And the concluding one, what you have gathered or what you have learned or what you want to say to the public, that is the conclusion part. All the conclusion of what you have spoken in the presentation. So it consists of the three: one, introduction, main body, and the conclusion, just like a paper, just like a short paper or a letter. So this is what the meaning of oral presentation is. Let us move on to the features of effective oral presentation. The first one is your having a purpose. Having a purpose or have a purpose means for what reason you are giving the presentation. That should be clear in the mind. So this is what having a clear purpose means in effective oral presentation. This is the first feature. Second comes addresses the targeted audience at their understanding level. So for whom you are preparing the presentation, what are the people who are going to listen to your oral presentation. So you have to prepare according to the targeted audiences. The next one is it is well organized and well prepared. Yes, whenever you are giving a presentation and you want that your oral presentation should be the effective one, then it should be well organized and well prepared. If it is not organized well or it is not prepared well, then it will be a very ineffective oral presentation. Next is well designed visual aids are used. See, if you are giving an oral presentation and using the visual aids like media or the slides, then it puts a great impact on the audiences for whom you are giving the presentation. They are more inclined towards what you are speaking and they developed an interest in understanding it, because a visual aids create more information than you speak. So it is just an extra effort which you will be giving in your effective presentation. So you can use a well-designed visual aids in your oral presentation. Next is unnecessary details are avoided. Yes, when you are giving a presentation on a particular topic or a fixed topic, you should stick around to that topic only. Providing unnecessary details makes the presentation too long and the audience will get bored while listening your oral presentation. So it should be to the point and related to the topic on which you are speaking. Next comes engages the intended audience. Your presentation should be designed in such a manner that it engages the intended audience, so that they are not inclined to anywhere else and they are just interested in seeing or in listening what you are speaking. The next is starts and ends on time. Yes, the presentation, I've said in the meaning also in oral presentation that it is a short talk. So it should not be too long or it should not be too short. It should start at a good time and end at a good time. Means start and end time matter. It should not be too long, so that if it is long, then audience will get bored. So starting and ending time is very important. Start well and ends well. Okay. So these were the features of effective oral presentation. Now let us move on to the format and structure of presentation. What should be the format or the structure of presentation? In this, we will first see the advanced preparation. Advanced preparation means that before giving the oral presentation, what preparation you should prepare early only. Before, that is giving the presentation, what preparation you should do before giving an oral presentation. So that is your advanced preparation here. So in advanced preparation, first is selection of a topic. The first and the most important consideration on the part of a speaker is the choice of the topic. The topic should be precise and of interest, so that audiences are interested in listening what are you giving in the presentation. The second one is state the objective. The objective may be one or more, such as to inform, to persuade, to influence, or to entertain. So depending upon the objectives, one must plan its presentation. Third, prepare an outline. The speaker must make a rough blueprint, just like the introduction, body of the presentation, essentials needed, and the conclusion. Preparing the outline, that how should your presentation should be. That is the outline, or preparing a blueprint, you can say it. The fourth one is narrow down the scope. See, one of the prerequisites of the presentation is to limit the scope of the presentation. If the topic is vast and has many things to be illustrated, then a good presenter needs to narrow down the scope, which might be told in the very beginning of the presentation or before the presentation. That is the meaning of the narrow down the scope, this point says. The next one is locate material and data. See, it means collect records in books, documents, speeches, magazines, reports, etc. to support the argument. Further organize it in a proper manner. If the organization of the things or the materials or the data you have collected, it is not in a logical sequence, then it will create confusion in the minds of the listeners. So it should be well organized in a proper manner. The sixth one is prepare a rough draft. Once this all thing is done, then prepare a rough draft and revise it if needed. It should include an introduction, quotation, main body, examples, conclusions, and references to make your presentation interesting, effective, and attractive. The seventh one is use audio-visual aids. See, consider and acquire or prepare audio-visual aids like charts, slides, animated videos, short films, etc. because these are very effective medium of telling what you are feeling or what you want to tell to the audiences. Because these audio-visual aids speak more than what you are trying to say it. So it plays a very important role in your presentation. Next and the last one is rehearse. It is essential to understand rehearsal and practice as essential and wonderful for improvement in the presentation. Rehearsal offers self-confidence and also limits the nervousness of stage fearing. It is desirable to rehearse in front of tryout agencies, okay? And they can give you the tips or where you are getting wrong and you can improve on that. So rehearsal is very, very important before giving the presentation in the public. So these were the advanced preparation one can do before giving a presentation. Now let us move on to the preparations which should be done or which should be kept in mind during the presentation or the characteristics of effective presentation. In this first comes be clear and organized. See, once the questions and their implications said above are looked, that is we have seen in the advanced preparation, the presentation will automatically become clear and organized and a powerful one. After all, readability is the very life of all speech and writing. Moreover, it is also to be continuously kept in mind that no listener or reader likes to listen to the confusing talk or presentation. That is why it should be clear and organized before you are giving a presentation. If it is clear and organized and well prepared, then automatically that presentation will be the effective one. Okay. The next characteristic is be simple. From the principle of effectiveness, simplicity emerges. The simple language appeals more. A genuinely effective speaker is one who can explain the maximum or complicated matter in the handiest, that is in a very simple language, even to a layman. Layman is a person who can't understand the more technical words. Every educated man or woman should do research on the topic of presentation in detail. No audience loves to concentrate on jargon. So you should use those words in the presentation which are understandable to every person. If the words are very hard or they are very complicated in understanding, then people might have very little interest in listening to your presentation. So it should appeal to the audience, and if you want that your presentation should appeal to the audience, then the language should be this simple, and it should be able to explain the things in a very easy and a handiest way. So that is what your simplicity means. The next comes cultivate effortless grace and naturalness. Everybody knows that a cultured person moves and speaks with grace and sounds natural. But then there are circumstances in which it is very hard to act and speak naturally. When one is face to face with a huge audience and has to make a vital speech, it is pretty natural to be conscious, nervous, possibly overconscious of every activity and movement. So one has to plan his or her own methods to look, move, and communicate with grace. Practicing to speak in front of a replicate is very common advice. Another is to find a popular TV anchor or personality and emulate his or her approaches. So it will help us, or it will help you to cultivate effortless grace and naturalness while you are giving the presentation in front of the huge public or audiences. Next comes be mentally prepared. Every effective speaker is a learned and well-informed man or woman. Out of nothing, nothing comes. So one must remember that for each event or every kind of speech, the high quality armament is a nicely stocked mind. A mind stocked with all kinds of records, facts, figures, standard awareness, readings in literature and philosophy, contemporary affairs, financial and political developments, new advancement in technology, the emergence of new business, and so on. Having the proper form of data and updated information is a vital key of effective presentation. So mentally prepared means that all the facts, figures, or whatever the information or the data is collected, you should have a command over, or you have mentally learned that, or you have a remembrance of those things when you are giving the presentation. The next comes provide concrete details. See, many poor speakers make their speeches in an imaginary manner. So an effective speaker, on the contrary, makes his speech interesting by furnishing details and real experiences to take it to the targeted audience. If you give your experiences or the real experiences, or to you share your experiences with the audiences, then you are able to connect with your audience of what you are giving on of what you want to say to them during the presentation. So it is therefore very important for a speaker to make his speech lively and incredible with fascinating details, funny examples or relevant examples, and enthusiastic presentation, and by keeping eye-to-eye contact with the audience. So this is what your provide concrete details here means. Now let us see the next one. Next is be brief. Having loads of data no longer suggests that you will pass on rambling or going into unnecessary information. Means one has to take care of the numbers and statistics. It is said time is money, and it is true that time is money. All this is superfluous and has to be cut out to make the speech concise. So one should try to make the presentation or his speech as brief as possible, because if the speech is longer, if your presentation is longer, then the audience will get bored and they might lose the interest in listening to your presentation. So it should be brief and to the point with real experiences and exact information. That is what be brief here means. Next comes be informal. The occasion can be formal, however, the speaker ought to strive to offer his or her speech with a personal touch. That is the only way to establish rapport with the target audience and to create a lasting impression. Informality creates closeness. So that is what be informal here means. The next comes speaking in moderate speed. See, if one talks too quickly or very fast, the audience may lose the link. On the other hand, if one is telling one's story at a slow pace, or if one is telling the story, one's own story in a slow pace, the audience will be bored to death. So modernization is the best opinion, as it keeps the audience interested and looking forward to hearing what is coming next. So you should keep your speed according to the situation demand. If you are explaining something in detail, you can just slow down. If you are explaining not something in detail, or you're giving an example, then you can moderate your speed, or you can increase your speed, or you can increase the tone of your voice or pitch of your voice. So it depends on the situation when you are giving the presentation. Next comes mind the non-verbal language. See, effective use of gestures is a necessary component of a speech, whether prepared or natural. In the same way, good eye contact is indispensable. So you should have a command over your non-verbal language, that is your body language, your gestures which you will be using in the oral presentation. Next comes dressing appropriately. It is important to be dressed formally and appropriately to the occasion. A smart look would help boost one's confidence as well as the audience confidence in the speaker. Wearing smart clothes also has an effect on the audience because it shows that the speaker respects them and one made the effort to dress appropriately. The last one is thanking the audience, which is very important because they are the person or they are the people who are listening to you for a longer time. So thanks so banta hai. The speaker should also conclude by thanking everybody for being there and, if applicable, answering any questions that they might have at the end of your presentation. So these were the characteristics of the effective presentation. Now we will see the remedies to overcome the problems in oral presentation which we might face while we are giving the presentation in context to the public. The first is nervousness. Nervousness is a thing which is faced by every person whenever he or she is giving the oral presentation in front of the large public or huge public. So the nervousness plays very important role. If the nervousness is little bit, then it is better, but if it is more, then one should overcome it, and one can overcome it your nervousness by preparing or rehearsing your presentation again and again. It will just boost your confidence before giving the presentation to the audience. So this is the first thing, the remedies to overcome the problems in our presentations, nervousness. Okay? So to avoid this aspect, what we have to do is to keep practicing earlier than the time. And to make it perfect and in confident manner, practice is inevitable. So practice is the only solution to overcome the nervousness. Next one is stage fear and anxiety. Everyone undergoes speech anxiety or talking error. The preceding surveys by many researchers show that fear of talking in front of companies is one of the greatest fears humans have. So there's some techniques people use for managing this fright are to try to motivate oneself that the target audience is aware of our anxiety and understand what we are feeling within, because they might be skilled in this state of affairs beforehand. So one should think that the audience will forgive mistakes and concentrate upon the positive side of presentation. So in this way, it will help in removing the stage fear and anxiety in your mind. Next comes communication. The trouble of poor verbal exchange is complicated and cannot be solved by a single ebook, a course, and no longer by using quick guide. The essential steps consist of planning the presentation as with all academic undertakings. So one should see the other people's oral presentations or their speeches given in the public. It will boost your confidence and it will also help you to improve your communication skill. So make sure that the message is effectively and properly delivered to the target audience, and you should try to use those language which is comfortable with the audience. Okay. The last one is be ourselves. To overcome the nervousness and stage fear, exercise some deep breathing strategies. Another strategy is be within our comfort zone. Practice with buddies. If possible, visit the place earlier to test out the room first, area, the equipment, sitting arrangements, and the lights. Additionally, one must concentrate upon the message. Start with a slow, properly prepared introduction and feature and assured and clear in conclusion. The most essential aspect is constantly being organized and practice the script before one actually presents. So in this way, one can overcome the problems in oral presentations. The first one was nervousness, stage fear and anxiety, communication, and the last one is be ourselves. So this was all about your oral presentation. In the next lecture, we will see the another element of soft skill. Till then, thank you very much.